Good morning. Now we are going to learn about ER modeling in RDBMS. RDBMS means Relational Database Management System. ER modeling means Entity Relationship Modeling. It is a diagrammatic representation of entire database tables. ER model is basically used to express the logical structure of a database in graphical form. There is a quote, a picture is worth 1,000 words. That means a multiple ideas can be expressed in a single still image in easily. Like that, a complex data structures are also easily expressed in the way of graphical form. That's why ER modeling is very important in RDBMS. A ER model is one of the high-level database design. It has three basic components. One is the entities, another one is attributes, and relationship is last one. Entity is an object that is place, persons, or some component of data is called a entity. And entity is also represented in rectangle symbol in ER diagrams. The entities can be categorized into two types. One is strong entity, another one is weak entity. Strong entity. An entity has a primary key is called as strong entity, which is used to uniquely identify each entries in the table. The symbol of strong entity is same as the entity, that is rectangle symbol. Weak entity, it does not have a primary key attribute. It is always depends on other entity through the foreign key attribute. It is represented by the double rectangle symbol. Here student is a strong entity, project allotted is the weak entity, because student has a student roll number or register number, any one of the unique ID. It will be used to retrieve the entries of each student. But project allotted is also depends upon the any one of the student. That's why it will be represented in double rectangle. It is called, because it's called as a weak entity. Next, attributes. Attribute is a valid property of either an entity type or a relationship type. It is represented by an ellipse symbol. Okay, here student is an entity. It have a three attributes, that is roll number, name, and birth date. The attributes have following types. One is a simple attribute, composite attribute, derived attribute, single value attribute, and multi-value attribute. Simple attribute. The atomic values are called as simple attribute because it cannot be divided further. For example, a student's phone number is an simple attribute because it have a 10 digits atomic value. It cannot be divided further. Suppose we are divide that digit, means that there is no meaning of that digits. That's why it is called as a simple attribute. Here student is an entity. The student attribute phone number is an simple attribute. Another one is a composite attribute. Composite attributes are made up of more than one simple attributes. It will be represented by ellipse that are connected with an ellipse. Ellipse that are connected with an ellipse is called as composite attributes. Here student is a entity. It have the attribute roll number, name and birth date. The name attribute is called as a composite attribute because a student complete name may have a first name and a last name. So it will be connected to the name attribute. It is called as a composite attribute. Another one is a single value attribute. Single value attributes contains single values. For example, student roll number, because each student have only one roll number. Okay, that's why roll number is called as a single value attribute of student entity. Another one is a multi-value attribute. Multi-value attributes may contain more than one values. For example, a person can have more than one phone number or email address or WhatsApp ID or Instagram ID and etc. Here, student entity have a attribute as roll number, name, birth date and phone number. Here, phone number is a multi-value attribute because some students have more than one phone number. It will be represented in double ellipse because multi-value attributes are represented by double ellipse. Next one is a derived attribute. Derived attributes are the attributes because it does not exist in the physical database, but their values are derived from other attributes present in the database. For example, age can be derived from date of birth of student. Here student entity have a attributes name, birth date, roll number, phone number, but doesn't exist in age exist in the physical database. But some of the places we need a age of the student. So that time we can derive from the student age from birth date. That's why age is a derived attribute. It will be represented by dashed ellipse because dashed ellipse is a symbol of derived attribute. Next one is a relationship. The association among entities is called a relationship. A verb in a sentence signifies a relationship. For example, an employee works at a department. A student enrolls in a course. Here, works at and enrolls are called relationship because it is a verb of this sentence. Their relationship is symbolically represented a diamond symbol. For example, teacher teaches a student. Here, teacher and student is a person or object. It is called as a entity. Okay. Here, teachers is a verb of this sentence. It is called as a relationship among these entities. See this example, teacher, student. These are the entity. Teachers is a relationship. Next one, degree of relationship. The number of participating entities in a relationship defines the degree of a relationship. It is classified into three types. One is unary relationship, another one is binary relationship and ternary relationship. Unary relationship. It is exists when an association is maintained within a single entity. For example, and employee supervise another employee. See this example, supervisors is a relationship because it will be represented in diamond symbol. Employee is an entity, it will be represented in rectangle symbol. In this diagram only one entity will be participated, so it is called as a unary relationship because employee is acting as a manager or supervisor. Same way he is a daily wages also. So employee, the supervisor is supervises the daily wages. So it is called as a unary relationship. Another one is a binary relationship. It is exists when two entities are associated. For example, teacher teaches a student. Here teacher and student is a entity, teachers is a relationship. These two entities are associated in this relationship, teachers. Another one is a ternary relationship. It is exists when three entities participate in the relationship. For example, the university might need to record which teachers taught which subjects in which courses. See this example, course, subject and teacher is an entities. These three entities are associated with this relationship, course, subject and teachers. This is called as a ternary relationship. See this example, entity name will be represented in the rectangle symbol. Entity is maybe a person, place or object or event or concept about which data is to be maintained. For example, car and student. Car is one of the entity, student is the another entity. Okay, next one is attribute. Property or characteristics of entity is called attribute. Okay, so here the color of the car entity is the one of the attribute. Name of the student entity is one of the attribute. Relationship, here workplace, association between the instance of one or more entity types is called as relations. For example, blue car belongs to the student Jack. Okay, it is the overview of this session, like entity, attribute and workplace. It is the example of simple example of ER diagram of library management system. It has three attributes. One is books, another one is publisher, and another one is member. It will be related to the two relationship, published by and browsed by. Books and publisher related to the published by relationship, associated with published by, because books published by some of the publishers. Okay, so books have the these attributes like book ID, author, title, price and available. Here book ID is the primary key, so it will be underlined. Books published by publisher, so it will be connected with the relationship published by. Publisher have a three attributes, publisher ID, address and name. Another attribute is member. It will be associated with the books entity, that is books borrowed by some of members. Okay, so it will be associated with the borrowed by. Okay, the member entity have a attribute like member ID, member date, member type, address, name and expiry date. Same way, borrower by, it will be have a three attributes like due date, return date and issue. Book issue date, book return date and due date of book. Okay, this is the simple ER diagram of library management system. Thank you.